So I welcome you all to this one-day faculty development program on a specific topic, that is religion. We are very fortunate to have Parameswaran sir. It is a long-awaited moment to hear sir. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and making time to deliver a session on a very excellent, we can say, speaker that we have got for this for that particular topic, and that is the religion. And we know sir is known more for spirituality and law and its interconnection as well. So on behalf of Marathwada Mitra Mandas, Shankar Chavan Law College, I welcome today's guest, K. Parameswaran sir, and all the faculties from distinguished universities and some of the students as well. So I welcome on behalf of college. Before going to the to today's first session, that is Parameswaran sir's session, let me introduce sir. So it is again a privilege to introduce such a luminary in the world of law as well as spirituality and the religion. Sir is an associate professor and former dean of academics at Gujarat National Law University, India. He holds bachelor's degree in administration and law and master's in international and constitutional law. He has done PhD in international law. Sir teaches law since 2000 in various institutions like National Law School Bangalore, National Law University Jodhpur, Madras University Chennai, Symbiosis Law School Pune. Currently is working as a head of master's department at Gujarat National Law University and was head of curriculum department for undergrad studies. He has pioneered a law subject, law, religion, spirituality, and justice, and also ethics, skills development, ESD, for legal research and profession. So he teaches and conducts training program on spirituality, higher values, and ethics for law teachers, PhD scholars, students, advocates, judicial officers. He also is a part of governing body of Auroville Foundation under Maharashtra's under MHRD, Human Resource Development Ministry of Government of India, and UNESCO. He's also a part of World Commission on Environmental Law, International Consortium for Law and Religion, project for integrating spirituality, law, and politics, interfaith dialogue, and conflict mitigation studies, etc. Then cognitive behavioral therapy as well. He brings spiritual and peace values in legal education and research. He also holds certificates on psychotherapy, heritage and Vedic studies, and is associated with various law schools in the United States of America for higher research. He mentors various stakeholders to understand higher purpose of law and justice through self-awareness and universal consciousness for individual and social goals. He lived in Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Pondicherry, and now practices integral spirituality and conducts weekly spiritual classes in Gujarat in addition to his regular academic work. And so, welcome again, sir, on behalf of our college, as well as this is just an offline, this is just an online program, and we hope we'll soon see you on our campus as well. So without further delay, I request sir to start and address the gathering with his thoughts. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for this wonderful invitation. At the outset, I thank Marathwada Mitra Mandal's Shankar Rao Chavan Law College, Pune, for creating this wonderful platform, which is a online FDP program, a one-day FDP program exclusively on religion. I'm very grateful to Principal Professor B.G. Jadavji, Executive President of this Marathwada Mitra Mandal. I'm also thankful to Dr. Kranti Deshmukh, the respected principal of this esteemed institution. And I also thank Dr. Ashwini Ingol, the program coordinator of this FDP. And also thank our dear professor, Mr. Saurav Ubale, who is also the program coordinator of this wonderful FDP, whom I know for a very long time and whose commitment to legal research and legal academics is well known. I thank every one of you for participating in this wonderful FDP program, which is exclusively on religion, which is a very difficult and intense topic to discuss, and the whole day that is being allocated for this topic is something very commendable, considering the situation that we are in right now, in which I personally feel, I would like to demonstrate at the end that how religion and spirituality, they both have a crucial contribution, a very positive contribution to jurisprudence, leading to a very holistic society that we all are aspiring to have. With these thoughts, let me first give a broad outline, because the nature of the topic is so vast and it is not that easy to complete the whole topic in an hour. I would like to give a broad outline first, so that we all can identify as law professors, law researchers, or teachers from different disciplines of subjects, social sciences, humanities, PhD scholars, students, and so on. They all will get a kind of a clue as to how they can proceed in their respective subjects, and those who are specifically doing research in relation to the integration of religion and jurisprudence, spirituality, and society, they will get a very clear direction based on the thoughts that I want to share today with all of you. And I also request that this particular theme is just not only specific to legal fraternity or law thinkers or law professionals or people associated with law. As I used to say, that law is one of the disciplines of knowledge which is 360-degree view in kind, as a result of which it has its benefits proliferating from every direction. There is not even a single space in this vast reality that we see in these times in which we live, where there is no law. Even before I am born, law operates. Even after I leave this earth, law operates. Not only on the human, but also on the flora and the fauna. Not only on the animate, but also on the inanimate and so on. So the law is all pervasive. Law is so ubiquitous in nature. Keeping that in mind, there is one subject that we all are concerned about, is the philosophy of law, the interpretation of law, the structure and the system and the science and art of law, which all put together is called the jurisprudence, the subject which we study in the legal education. Of course, we all know that jurisprudence is not just one single subject that needs to be studied in a particular hour. Jurisprudence is a thought process, it's a value system whose interpretation is going to impact so much in our daily life. As a result of this, we need to identify where is the source of this jurisprudence coming from. Because if we consider jurisprudence as a philosophy of life and society, the legal interpretation of life and society, the whole governance and the constitution and so on, there ought to be some source, there ought to be some place where this must originate from. The one source that we all very often recognize is religion. But religion as such needs to be clearly defined, which we will get into a little later. But we need to keep in mind that the jurisprudence, which is having a direct contribution to the society, in which the individuals and the collectives, they live together, they coexist, and the state which operates upon them, and the constitution which gives a direction how we should live together, they all originate from thoughts and value systems which, for us, put together, it comes from a source called religion, or you may even say culture, or you may even say tradition, or you may say certain value systems and so on. Since the FDP is specifically focusing on religion and jurisprudence, spirituality and society, I would like to take this theme, religion and jurisprudence, spirituality and society, and show you how we can go about or what we need to do it. These four terms, religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society, we all know the meaning of it, the origin of it, the function of it, the nature of it, the scope of it. There are various schools, there are various approaches, there are various theories, treatments, and so on. To put together, religion is nothing but a broad value system, a basket of ideas or ideals, values, and systems, and so on, which people have developed either by their inner experience or by the outer observations, which is helpful to their individual life as well as their collective life, and which gives us a kind of a conscious choice to realign our thought and emotion and conduct. So religion operates like a value system in which customs are there, in which traditions are there, in which rituals are there, some activities, some thought process. This is how it has to be. That is how it has to be. All these put together form part of religion. Whereas jurisprudence is nothing but the philosophy of law, the treatment of law, how law ought to be, or what law can do to the society, which consists of individuals and the collectives. Whereas spirituality is nothing but, of course, true religion is spirituality, or you can say spirituality is true religion. I'm very careful in using this sentence, true religion is spirituality, or spirituality is the true religion, because there is also an outer form to religion, an outer form to spirituality, which is social in context, which varies according to time, space, jurisdictions, and so on. And hence they have their own divergences and complexities. So spirituality put together in all these contexts, they refer to a kind of an awakening to a greater reality, the true reality of the whole life, the whole existence. And that greater reality is just not the mind, emotion, sense, and the body, which we normally identify with, though the mind, emotion, sense, and the body with which we operate, and we call ourselves as the personality constituting of mind, emotion, sense, and the body, they are also part of that greater reality. But we need to keep in mind that there is a greater reality, a true reality, a core reality of our own self, of this whole existence. And when we awaken to that greater reality, we get certain crucial experiences. Those experiences are very important, very interesting, and indispensable to the study of religion, indispensable to the study of law, society, and jurisprudence. What that experience constitutes, I will come to it a little later, but we need to keep in mind that spirituality is experiential, or you can say that is what the true religion is all about, or the expressions of those experiences, the true spirituality or the true religion, which gets converted into scriptures or recorded works, writing mediums, and so on, unless and until that is experienced, those thoughts and ideas remain only as ideas, philosophies, ideals to be achieved. And then we have the society in which the individuals live. So these four terms, religion and jurisprudence, spirituality and society, they are very complex. Indian Constitution has a treatment for all these. Of course, spirituality word is not there, but spirituality is there. I'll come to that in the end. But religion is there. There are separate provisions in the Indian Constitution that deals with the freedom of religion. Even international conventions under public international law, United Nations declarations, and so on. All of them are there to protect religion. That means there is something in religion which we must seriously look into. That is the importance that we must give to religion. As a result of which, that is the importance that it acquires for jurisprudence. As a result of which, we must understand what spirituality is. We will understand what spirituality is because of this religion. And we will also get to know how it can be helpful to our society. So these four terms, these four words, and their connection with history, politics, time, culture, and their treatment under law, Indian Constitution, public international law, and so on, they have immense values, indispensable ideals for our individual life, for our personal life, for our professional life, for our collective life, for our social life, are put together in a simple way: life at all levels. Having said that, these four terms, religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society, and the complex interrelationship that they have three basic values to be studied. What are they? All religion, all jurisprudential concepts, all spiritual traditions, spiritual exercises, and all forms of the society or all sectors of the society, they deal with three interesting values. One, it deals with the objective as well as the subjective, the material and the psychological. One. Two, it deals with the conceptual and the practical. It deals with the social, external, variable, practical, and it also deals with the conceptual, the ideas. And three, this religion, spirituality on one side, jurisprudence and society on the other side, and the interrelationship of all the four: religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society. They have their own treatment of what world is, what life is. That's where we are going to see each and every religion is having separate understanding of what they consider as subjective and what they consider as objective and subjective. What they consider as conceptual, what is considered as practical for them. What is considered as the important element that needs to be given serious note of for life and world. So when we study the objective and the subjective, the conceptual and the practical, their treatment to life and the world from this complex interrelationship called religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society, in which the objective and the subjective, the conceptual and the practical, and their divergent treatment to life and world, we find enormous conflicts. That's where people fear religion. Some either over-embrace religion or some shun the religion. Both of them are not going to solve the problems. Because the true understanding of all these four terminologies, all these four views on life, views of life by religion, spirituality, jurisprudence, and society, their inner meanings are somewhat deep inside, which we need to unlock. And while unlocking, we will find the objective and the subjective, the practical and the conceptual, the treatment to the world and life. They actually pass through one extreme to the other extreme, and sometimes even totally contradictory to each other. And we have the time, over a period of time, each and every religion evolved from one point to various points, and the space in which we all are located since the history of the advent of man. They all have developed religion in different ways, according to the available materials, resources, according to their customs, their ideas, their own perceptions of what life, everything. And then out of it, the culture came, the context came. So time, pace, culture, context, they also bring a unique flavor to the study of religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society. Just to give a quick recap, religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, society, these four words are very important for us. Constitution has recognized, international law recognizes, all the international conventions and United Nations talk about it. They say very clearly that we need to find a balance between these four: religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society. Neither excesses nor completely ignoring will be of any help, because all these four are intricately connected with the human societies, the growth of human societies and so on, which we cannot avoid, which is part of us, even if it is time immemorial, long past back, still it is there behind us through customs and so on. As a result of which we study, when we explore religion, jurisprudence, spirituality and society, we find a complexity of objective and subjective, conceptual and practical, and their treatment to world and life, all are completely contradicting each other. In addition to a time, space, culture, context also give a new variation to it. So it seems to us, we cannot avoid studying this interrelationship. What has happened when we studied it in excess or when we ignored it? That also legal history gives us illustrations of how and where we failed the human societies. So if you say, or if you ask me, what are the benefits that we will get out of this? Every researcher, every law teacher, every teacher of various disciplines of social sciences or arts, humanities, or interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary, whatever that you are going to pursue in your life. What will be the benefit by studying this interrelationship? When we study this interrelationship of religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society, with its intricate conceptual and practical, objective and subjective, and their treatment to world and life and the history of time, the space, the culture, the context, we get to understand how we have to move towards the future world, how we are going to be the architect of our own life, creating our own human destiny in the future. What type of state we want, what type of society we want, what should a legal system comprise of when we study these things, how they should look into, what is the nature of the individual and the collective relationship in this. All these will give a very good view of life, a holistic view of life, a holistic view of society. That is the beauty of this subject. That's why I emphasize that a specific and exclusive FDP on a religion of this kind is something highly commendable. Because the take home that we are going to get from this whole FDP is something huge. It's just not only for the social sciences and humanities and arts teachers or students or research scholars. It is for all those who are in the field of science, technology, policy making, those who are in the field of advocacy, judicial, public service, NGOs, whatever that you do. We have something very beneficial for us. That is what is most important. Before I begin to explain what should we do in relation to the study of this intricate, the nature of relationship between these four, those who have studied law, those who have studied jurisprudence, they may understand that there are four schools or the four theories which are there, which played a very crucial role in our understanding of the legal system and so on. What are they? We have the natural theory of law, the positive school, the real theory in the real school, and also the critical school which came into picture. You may wonder why I am bringing jurisprudence, especially the schools and theories and approaches to law and justice here. Because in all these four, the natural school, the positive school, the real school, and the critical school, you can see either an exaggeration of the intricate, complex relationship of religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society, or a complete ignoring of it. You can study independently. What was the treatment of the intricate relationship of religion, spirituality, jurisprudence, and society in natural school. And why did it come it like this? How did it come like this? And what was the treatment under the positive school, or how positive law looked into religion, spirituality, jurisprudence, and society? How real school, realists looked into it? How critical theories look into all those things? By studying these four schools of law, or the four theories or the approaches of law, we get to an understanding of how we should move ahead. Because when we study religion, jurisprudence, spirituality, and society, we cannot avoid the four schools of law, the four theories and the four approaches of law, which is the last one being the critical study of it. Afterwards, we have no clear direction as to how to move ahead, except that there are various forms of critical theories that came into picture to understand what is the role of religion, what is the role of society, gender, whatever that you take into. In all those things, they want to study the relationship between the individual and the collective, the relationship between the objective and the subjective, the conceptual and the practical, and above all, how we should look into the life, how we should look into the world, and what we should do, and how we should move towards. That is what all these four schools have studied. To give simple examples, the natural school concentrated on the order of life, the normative order of life. Those who felt this whole nature, my own individual nature and the nature outside me, and the interrelationship between me and the nature which is surrounding us, there is some kind of an order. And the order is expressed in terms of the should or should not. And the should or should not is more or less linked to peace or the pain or the pleasure. I know if I pinch my hand like this, finger like this, it will pain. So I cannot inflict the same on the person outside me who is there in this vast nature. The pain teaches me. Similarly, the pleasure that I want for myself, nobody should disturb, and hence I also should not disturb others' pleasure, and I should give that. That interrelationship is getting clear here. So the natural theory which studied the order, which brought the idea of order, though they brought morality into it little later. I'm not getting into that. There are certain nuances which we can discuss a little later in some other forum. But what I want to say here is that the order was predominant because people felt that there exists an order. Where does it exist? Is it written? No, it is not written. It is felt. It is immanent. And that order is immutable, universal. It is for all. It's just not only for me or only for X, Y, Z. It is for all. The order of the pain, the order of the pleasure, the order of the liberty that I want to have for myself, the order of liberty that everyone will claim for it, that order cannot be changed. It exists in the nature itself. It is something universal. It is something immutable. And how do we get that? Is it written? No, it is not written. It is felt and experienced. That's where that felt experience, that immanence, one angle of religion or one angle of spirituality, which is experiential in nature, was brought into jurisprudence, was brought into legal order, was brought into political state system, constitution, and so on. You can also see in the Indian Constitution, the preamble talks about justice, social, economic, political, equality, liberty, fraternity. All these values, justice, which is social, economic, and political, of course, the social, economic, political should expand more, considering the changes that are taking place. It should include psychological and spiritual also. That is my research. But what I'm trying to say here is that justice, social, economic, and political, in which both the objective and the subjective, the conceptual and the practical, and the treatment to life and the world is there. And the liberty that needs to be given, the freedom that needs to be understood, the equality that which is inherent, and the liberty, the dignity which is inherent, the dignity of the individual, and the fraternity, unity, and the integrity of the society, which the constitutional preamble talks about. Constitution itself says that these were adopted, not created. If Constitution creates all those things, then Constitution can also recreate and amend it. Nobody can amend the preamble of the Constitution. Nobody can change it. It exists because it exists. That's why from the preamble, fundamental rights which are considered as inalienable, they actually started flowing. So what we need to keep in mind is that in the Constitution itself, the idea of the universal aspect of the religion is there. So some angle of religion was taken into consideration. Later on, the felt experience was not wide enough. It was not fully everywhere. So somebody has to bring a law, somebody has to bring a sanction, somebody has to bring a rule, an explicit rule. The positive command came. The sovereign came into picture. The command came into picture. The sanction came into picture. The codes and edicts came into picture. Rule came into picture. Regulation came into picture. The do's and don'ts came into picture. So positive law was nothing but those who could not experience the naturally felt immanent order within themselves and outside, they were forced to follow it. That force was brought by the positivists, by the group of scholars or the over a period of time in the social evolution of the history. That is the positive development of it. But then what happened? Over a period of time, between what was there, already existing in the nature, the immanent feeling of it, which others could not feel it, for them the positive law came into picture. They created do's and don'ts for it, which later on, after some time, the society which created the do's and don'ts, they actually started evolving, but the do's and don'ts, they were in paper, remained static. That needs to be again modified. That remodification, that course correction of that kind of a thing led to the real theory of school of law, the approach to law, the interpretation to jurisprudence. So real brought yet another significant push that there was an order and there exists an order which some people could not agree with, some people could not understand and see it, as a result of which a positive law came into picture. But then the positive law that came into picture remained static because it was there like that. But then the society started outgrowing their own sense of the now, which got addicted in the positive law, as a result of which, again, a kind of a re-establishment, a realignment was made. Real alignment was made. The real. But then came, when the real situation came, the realist situation came, the question was, who are the ones who are dominating this narrative in which the power is locked, in which the ideas are brought into jurisprudence? From where does it come? Does it come from the spiritual source? Does it come from the religious source? Does it come from the group of people who belong to religious institutions or the places of worship? That's where the idea of the church and state, the separation of it, came from the European school. That was there simultaneously, parallelly. But that got highly significant during the later part of the real school and their approaches which were going. So they wanted to find out where is the power structure which is creating all these things and who is the one who is explaining all this, what is justice or how interpretation needs to be done in order to give justice to everybody. So what happened in the real? Feminism came into picture, race theory came into picture. So many minute theories came into picture in which they again studied the relationship between the conceptual and the practical, the objective and the subjective, and their treatment to the world in which the individual and the collective, their interrelationships formed. Now you can understand how religion has played a very crucial role. You can see from the natural school to the positive school, and also to the real school to the critical school, if you put a graph, the religion which was there 100% here, it came down to such a level of say 10%, maybe you can say like that. But then the conceptual clarity or the practical application of these, they were constantly in question. And they wanted to bring the social efficiency and the efficacy of it all the time, as a result of which they lost the inner quotient of the religion, in which the universality is lost. That's why you can see from the original position of the jurisprudence, from the natural school, then to the positive, then to the real and the critical, individualization of rights became dominant. Collective understanding of things came down to such a halt. Of course, it is coming through the other side of it, say like sustainable development, planetary spirit. All these theories are again coming, though they are all fully from the natural school, fully from the religion, fully from the spiritual understandings and so on. They all are coming from the other direction of it, because they realize that the individualism or the individualization of the legal rights has gone to such an extent that it is becoming very difficult to understand how do we take this collective society collectively towards the future. How do we bring human unity? How do we see the humanity? How do we see mutuality? How do we see harmony? Because in order to have harmony, in order to have mutuality, in order to have collectivity, you need a running thread, a connecting thread, which must interconnect everything that is there surrounding the life, everything that which is holding the life. What is it that which is going to hold the life? That's exactly, again, religion and spirituality will play a very crucial role. We cannot avoid those who study law and jurisprudence, or those who study anything related to justice and society, they cannot avoid religion and spirituality, because the connecting thread, the holistic spirit, the invisible binding component is there in the religion, it is there in the spirituality. Now a question comes, what is meant by religion, or what is meant by spirituality, or what is meant by these two terms which are going through enormous explanations, discourses and narratives? As I have said, we need to keep in mind that true religion is spiritual. When I say true religion is spiritual, it must give rise to 7 important elements. Follow me very carefully, because it is very crucial for our analytical thinking, so that we can see the bindingness of the religion or the spirituality to the society, into the society and collective life. True religion is spiritual. So when I say true religion is spiritual, what do we mean by that? There are 7 elements that can define this, in which what I call true religion is spiritual. Spirituality is the true religion. 1, true religion, which is spiritual, must be universal in context, universal in understanding, universal in practice. Universality. Second principle, second element, true religion, which is spiritual, or spirituality, which is true spirituality. Inclusivity. It must include everything, including life and the world. Because there is one element of religion or one element of spirituality which looks at life and world as some kind of an illusion, as some kind of a maya, some kind of an appearance. We don't want that. That is not inclusion. We must include life. We must include worlds. When we say we include world, we understand society, human individuals, collectivity. But when we say we must include life, we must make religion, true religion, which is spiritual, an integral part of it, in which the universality, and 2, inclusivity, and 3, it must be non-sectarian. It should not be of sectarian kind, because non-sectarianness is what gives the inclusivity and universality an important role. If you say universal and if you say inclusive, you can't be sectarian. It must be non-sectarian. And 4, it must recognize the gender uniqueness, not only transcending gender, but also recognizing the gender for all purposes. That is the 4th most important element we must keep in mind. 5, most important, ecology. We cannot forget the ecology which is surrounding us, the environment which is there. We must protect as well as promote. Then comes the sustainable development which we are talking about. Sustainable development means that you appropriate resources only for your need, not for your greed. You leave things to the future, the ability of the future to make the use of the resources in the same way you are using it, because the past generation has left something for their future which we are right now. So we must also use resources in such a way that we must in the present leave something to the future and their ability to make use of it, because they also have to coexist. That's where the United Nations principle, what is called intergenerational equity and intragenerational equity. It's a brilliant principle of connecting the time of present with the past and with the future. And finally, the most important point being the planetary spirit that we must keep in mind. That we all belong to this planet, and we must understand that we are not an exclusive identity or a person or a group or a community or a set of ideas living in this planet for our own benefit. We must embrace this whole planet, the planetary spirit and the planetary age which we must move towards. These are the 7 elements which we must keep in mind when we study religion and spirituality, because spirituality, religion, and their contribution to jurisprudence in society is very important, as we have seen from the Constitution, the preamble of it, and the 4 theories which are dominant in dealing with the implementation of legal order, justice, state policy, constitution, and so on. So we can't avoid that. So we must always keep in mind that true religion is spiritual with these 7 basic foundational fundamental elements: universality, inclusivity, non-sectarianness, gender recognition, the uniqueness of it, the transcendence of it, the acceptance of that, ecology, sustainable development, and this whole planetary spirit and age. If we have this in understanding, it becomes very easy for our individual life and personal life and professional life and our collective life. Not only the life of the 2 humans or life in the humanity, but also life of everything else, the animate and the inanimate which we study in law, the flora and the fauna which is getting connected with the human consciousness. So when we have these 7 elements of the true religion, which is spiritual in nature, and spirituality means the universality, the inclusivity, the non-sectarianness, acceptance and the transcendence and the uniqueness and the respect of the gender, the sustainable development, the ecology and planetary spirit and age. If we have this, there is no division in life. We are continuously in continuation with everything, in continuum with everything. Life becomes holistic, life becomes integral. This is the most important thing that we must keep in mind. So as research scholars, as law students, or students of different disciplines, as teachers of different disciplines, social sciences, humanities, arts, or the vocation of legal profession, or the social service, or the public service, or judiciary, whatever that we are doing, we must constantly keep these 7 elements in mind. And we must get back to our religion, because religion gives this scopus for us. Religion gives this kind of a treatment for us. We should not avoid it. Either you follow these 7 ideals, but where do we follow these 7 ideals? It must be followed in the place, in the habits, in the customs, in the culture, in the society, in the family, in the relationship, in the college, in the university, in the job, in the career, in the society, in everything that we do. We must constantly keep this universality in mind, constantly keep this inclusivity, constantly keep this non-sectarianness, the gender respect, the ecology, the sustainable development and planetary spirit. If you keep this, what Constitution wants to achieve for all of us is achieved, is accomplished. What does the Constitution say in the starting point? We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure and assure its citizens justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thought, freedom of speech, faith, belief, and worship, equality of status and opportunity, and fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual, the unity and the integrity of the nation, the community at large. And the Constitution thereby adopts all these and then enshrines it in the document for all of us. So Constitution already has a spiritual understanding of things. Constitution has already given the role for all of us, we the people. It is we who have to start it. It is we who have to think. It is we who have to feel. It is we who have to bring it in our behavior, social, cultural, political, religious, education, research, teaching, and whatnot. In every space, we have to bring this universality element. We have to bring this inclusivity, non-sectarianness, gender, planetary spirit, ecology, sustainable development. So practically what it means to us, if we say, we can take to our own religion, whatever that we want, whatever religion, whether I belong to this religion or that religion, whatever the religion which I like or I want to pursue, we need to reformulate these terms again and again to see whether in our religion, whether in our tradition, do we have scope for these? Because by studying these 7 elements, we are actually directly, consciously implementing what the Constitution wants for us. And we are also taking ahead what religion and spirituality, which is there in the bedrock of human life, the social existence, that also getting revealed, as a result of which there is no division to do this or that. Rather, we are in the whole, thinking of the whole, drawing out from the whole, and contributing everything to the whole back. This is the beautiful thinking which we must keep in mind. We cannot avoid this. So spirituality or true religion, which we call spirituality, has to have this. By studying true religion and spirituality, we are serving the Constitution. But in case you want to avoid religion or you don't want to get into that topic or a dimension of spirituality and want to concentrate only on Constitution, say like justice, social, economic, and political, equality, liberty, fraternity, how will you achieve this without having the binding thread, without having that golden thread which connects all life at all levels. There must be something in life. It's just not intellectual. It is just not feelings oriented. It is just not senses oriented. It is just not behavior or body oriented. There must be something of a value which must bind everything, which must connect everything, which must integrate everything, which must bring holism in everything. What is that binding thing? What is that golden thread which can connect all? Not only the individuals between two humans, the anthropocentrism or the speciesism, but also the flora and the fauna, the animate and inanimate, the objective and the subjective, the conceptual and the practical, life at all levels, across all jurisdictions, time, space, culture, context. What is that one which will bring that golden thread, which will connect all of us together towards a beautiful humanity which we all aspire for? That is the spirituality. That is the true religion consisting of these 7 elements. We cannot avoid this. So when we go back to our own religion, when we go back to our own tradition, whatever religion you belong to, whatever tradition I belong to, whatever cultures and customs we belong to, if our aim is to bring what the Constitution has aspired for all of us, if our aim is to bring a humanity which is going to be the future humanity for all of us, in which the human unity is to be achieved, with justice, social, economic, and political, with equality, liberty, fraternity, dignity, integrity, unity, which the Constitution wants for all of us. All these are flexible, subjective, psychological domains of human experiences involving the subjective and the objective, the conceptual and the practical, and the treatment of life of the individuals with the collective, life of human with the flora and the fauna and everything. We need the religion. We need the spirituality. So to give a quick understanding of what we mean by spirituality is that spirituality is the true religion, or true religion is the spirituality. Spirituality means an awakening to that greater reality, that higher reality. Other than the mind, the current mind, emotion, sense, and the body, which we normally identify as our personality. And when we get awakened to that higher reality, to that greater reality, which is the spiritual consciousness, the spiritual domain, the plane of existence, like how we have mental plane of existence, like how we have emotional plane of existence, the sensory plane of existence, the bodily plane of existence, so also we have a spiritual plane of existence. As much as we have mind, emotion, sense, and the body, in which only the body is tangible, rest all of them are still intangible. Similarly, the intangibility can grow to a great level, to a higher degree, to up to the spiritual dimension of it. As much as you have the intangible mind, emotion, sense, and the tangible body, so also you have tangibility and intangibility of the spiritual domains of existence, which is capable of experience for all of us. So when we get awakened to that spiritual reality, that higher reality, other than the mind, emotion, sense, and the body, what is that we experience? What is the benefit that we get from that zone of experience? What do we get? Because in modern understanding, we always think of what is the benefit that I will get if I do spirituality or if I take to true religion. The true religion or the true spirituality, which when you get awakened to it by experience, the experience that you will get consists of these 7 values, 7 elements: universality, inclusivity, non-sectarianness, gender, ecology, sustainable development, planetary age, spirit. That is the experience which is locked here. Currently, what we are doing in the legal systems through jurisprudence is that we go by trial and error approach. So we take hundreds of years to solve one small problem, and we go by the magnitude of the damage. If the damage is more, then we think this is something very essential which we need to look into under the lens of a constitution, under the lens of a particular treaty or convention. But we can't go by trial and error experimentation of life, because trial and error experimentation of life brings damage, brings injury, brings injustices, which we must avoid. If we are conscious and if we want the constitution to be achieved, accomplished for all of us, because it is we who have to accomplish the constitution. Why? We, the people of India. That is the starting point of the constitution. Very often people say, which is superior, executive, legislative, or judiciary? The three organs of the government, the state. I always used to say, it is the constitution which is paramount. And in the constitution, what is paramount is we, the people, not I, the individual, which is largely the argument right now. I, me, myself, self-aggrandizement, linear growth, lopsided, one-sided growth. We should not have it. Rather, we must catch hold of something which will satisfy the constitution and make all of us accomplish the constitution, and also contribute to our inner life and the collective life. So spirituality is one domain, one zone of experience and a plane of existence which we must tap to. How do we do that? Of course, we must get back to our religion and find the traditions. We call it yoga, we call it the process of meditation, the concentration, and so on. That is a practical exercise which we must do in order to get that. But academically, cognitively also, we must keep in mind that spirituality and religion has this solution for all kinds of problems of the state, the constitution, the legal interpretation, the legal philosophy, jurisprudence, justice, and so on. So it must be studied academically in the educational spaces, in law schools, law universities, and so on. We cannot avoid that. I used to show you how religion and spirituality plays a very crucial role in constitution and justice through various training programs which I used to conduct, in which I used to show step by step through various case laws and so on. That much is possible. In fact, in the Gujarat National Law University, where I am currently teaching, I had the greatest opportunity to create this course, Law, Religion, Spirituality, and Justice. For 6 months, I teach this for optional students, those who take